no trade clause. We obviously saw what's happened to the Knicks organization with Phil Jackson, Steve Mills ascending possibly all the way to the top. We'll wait to see about that. What is the latest on this guy?
Well, Cleveland had been he had been willing to waive his no trade for Cleveland throughout this process. That was the one team. What we reported last night, what changed is Houston is now on that list. He is open to waiving his no trade if Houston or Cleveland can find an avenue to get a deal done in New York. The reason it's changed with Houston, Chris Paul went from L.A. to Houston, teamed up with James Harden, and that's put Houston in the game here.
I want to ask you one quick follow-up on Carmelo. We're going to keep talking to you because obviously the news is continuing to break here. Real quick on Melo, the previous relationship with Mike D'Antoni in New York fizzled. D'Antoni comes back. He's the coach of the year. Would he have to acquiesce to D'Antoni now instead of the other way around in New York?
I think it is a concern. It is going to have to be talked through. I think the difference and what the Rockets are hoping for, it will not be Carmelo's team. He's going to be a third option on that team. The ball, they're not playing through Carmelo Anthony the way Mike D'Antoni had to play through him in New York. And I think, listen, this is a league about accumulating talent right now to go at Golden State. If he ends up in Houston, management there believes Mike D'Antoni and Carmelo Anthony are going to have to figure it out.
They'll have to coexist. As Daryl Morey said, it is indeed a weapons race. Utah's biggest weapon for the moment, they hope, is Gordon Hayward. Back to Hayward. What's the timetable on this sort of stuff? We waited till 12:01, breathlessly following all your tweets the other night. But now, what's the timetable for him? Because he seems like he's the biggest fish out there at this very moment.
Well, listen, going into this, he had hoped maybe 24, 48 hours. But I think that this is very likely going to be a really difficult decision for him because he's got a great situation in Utah. They've got good young talent. He's become an all-star there. He's playing with a great general manager, a coach who's built an offensive system around him. Miami, Boston are very attractive. There's a lot to like there. So this will take on a life of its own. To predict how long it takes someone to make this kind of a life decision, I don't think this is going to be easy. And I do know in talking to people close to Gordon, he's really laboring over this.
No question about it. Obviously, in Boston, the possible reunion with Brad Stevens, what a story that would be. Or what a better story, maybe a small market franchise like Utah being able to keep somebody of his talent. But let you get back to the phone because I know you've been eyeing it. It's nothing personal against me. I get it. Adrian, thanks a lot. We'll have you back as soon as anything breaks. I have a feeling that might be pretty soon. Adrian, thank you very much. Still to come, deals for Curry, Livingston, Iguodala done. Durant soon, making the Warriors' biggest remaining priority what? You might be surprised at the answer from our Warriors insider. That's coming up in just a
First pick in the 2017 NBA Draft. The 76ers select Markelle Fultz.
It's unbelievable, really. Something I've been dreaming about.
He's already promising some big-time things. The Sixers did not get much big-time production out of the point guard position last year. Philly's point guards averaged 9 points a game, with only the Bulls averaging fewer. In fact, the last Sixers guard of any kind who averaged 20 a game, AI. That was over 10 years ago. Now he's playing 3-on-3 for Ice Cube. No pressure there, Markelle. The scoring wasn't an issue for Fultz in college. Put up over 23 points per game a year ago, and his one-and-done year at Washington would happen to be the most of any major conference player. Fultz in action tonight. He's going to be taking on Tatum, so the 1-3 swap rears its head again. Mark J. Spears is in Salt Lake City, so you tell me, tip-off 7 Eastern, less than an hour away. You're on the court. What's the buzz for these two getting together for the first time of many, I would think?
Well, everybody's excited about Markelle Fultz's debut. Luck would have it that he would be playing against the Boston Celtics in his first Summer League game. You know, the Celtics decided not to take him, traded down 2 spots with Philly, and instead took the 3rd pick. They were asked, he was asked about whether or not it bothered him that the Celtics did that or that he's playing him the first game. And he said, no, it's just another Summer League game. I don't believe that. I met this kid at the Hoop Summit last year, and I asked him about Josh Jackson being the #1 ranked kid on ESPN. He said, well, I think I'm the #1 ranked kid. So this kid's pretty competitive. He's giving us some coach speak. I think he'll be pretty fired up to play against the Celtics after they passed on him.
Hey, Mark, on the other side with Tatum, I got to ask you this. Ainge famously said the reason we traded down is because the guy we wanted at 1, we could get at 3, which leads me to believe they're super high on him if they were going to select him at 1. I know all the talk is about Fultz, but what's this other kid saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and Danny Ainge really liked Tatum. You know, behind us a little while ago, Jaylen Brown, the second-year player of the Celtics, was working with Tatum And Tatum's kind of like lodged to his hip now. This is his mentor, even though he's only been in the league a year. So both of them are working hard. They're the first one in, the last one's out, just like he was a year ago as a rookie. So keep an eye on those two guys. But I don't think Tatum's going to be a big impact player for the Celtics this year, kind of like Jaylen Brown, probably about 10 to 15 minutes a game. But the Celtics certainly have excitement with these two young guys working together to become great.
Yeah, the future is indeed bright, not to mention all those draft picks. On the other side here, Chauncey Billups has turned down the Cavs general manager position. You spoke to Mr. Big Shot about passing on this shot. What is he saying? Why?
Well, it was somewhat surprising. Hey, look, there's only 1 of 30 of these jobs in the NBA. And he passed on it, and he just told me it wasn't the right fit and it wasn't the right time. He said there was a perception out there that his family did not want him to go to Cleveland. He said that was completely false, that they had his back into the entire thing if he wanted to come to Cleveland. I also asked him, I said, hey, did you consult with LeBron James? He said, no. I said, well, is LeBron's situation in Cleveland, the fact that he could be a free agent in 2018, a factor as well? And he said, no, it wasn't. He did consult with Tyronn Lue, the coach, longtime friend. But all in all, Chauncey passes, and Cleveland's still looking for a general manager. I mean, actually a president.
No question about it. As weird as it sounds, the team that's been to 3 straight NBA Finals and has the best player on planet Earth needs somebody to head the operation. Unbelievable. It's not going to be Chauncey. Who will it be?
You should take the job, man. It pays well.
That's true. That's true. Let me see if I can get out of my contract here in the next hour.
You got a good job,
minutes.
though. You're good.
That's true. And you're going to be watching some good players today at the Summer League. Mark, thank you very much. Tatum and Fulton. I'll keep an eye on that Cavs job. Dan Gilbert, if you're watching, call me. Summer League. Thunder, Knicks. Speaking of teams that need some leadership, the Cavs need some. The Knicks need a GM, too. We talked about that with Woj early and Markel Brown putting the Thunder up early. You know what the Summer League's about. It's about making a name for yourself, maybe trying to get yourself on a training camp roster. And Brown did his part, 20 points, 2 steals. Damian Dotson from downtown. Steve Mills, who might be the team president, is at the Summer League. A lot of decisions to make with the Knicks. Josh Hustis will finish 99-87, although the score tends to be immaterial at the NBA Summer League. It's about making a name for yourself. How about the Magic and the Mavs? Love this kid, Jonathan Isaac. Played his college basketball one-and-done year at Florida State, so from North Florida, shifting on down to Central Florida. He's been great. He struggled shooting in his first game over the weekend, but nobody's stopping that in the paint. His rebounding and block shots were there in his first game. Puts a little more weight on that body. He's going to be some kind of player. Christian Wood from downtown. And again, this is about guys that nobody's really ever heard of, trying to make a name for themselves. He did a nice job today, 86-76. The Mavericks take it over. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later and make it sooner. Durant opted out but made it clear he would return. 2-year deal with the Warriors worth approximately $53 million. In just moments, we'll find out exactly why it's that particular length and that amount of money and what could be to come. Our Chris Haynes broke the story, and he is here. So the NBA's first $200 million man is Curry, Livingston, Iguodala, West, and now the big one, KD. Tell me why it's 2 years and the money. What's this all about?
Well, look, the money is all about Kevin Durant. Look, that is a selfless act. A guy who's coming off of winning the finals, MVP, coming back and taking about $9 million less than what his max is. He's doing that to be able to have the Warriors go out there and have enough room to be able to bring somebody else in, be a free agency. And I was also told that part of that 2-year deal, the second year, is a player option in which he would likely, as of right now, would likely decline that player option, do it again, and then the following year, he will qualify for the super max. Now, what that means right now for the Warriors, look, you got a guy that's willing to make sure this core sticks together. He declined his option in the first place last month, which allowed the Warriors to retain the bird rights to Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala. And so now you see how they were able to get paid, and Durant is still doing that. Man, I've never seen anything like this. When I got the word this was going down, I was like, what? Excuse me, how much? For Durant? We talking Durant here? And I'm surprised. I think like everybody else is.
So we'll call it the Durant discount for now, if you could call $53 million a discount. But after you saw him in the NBA Finals, I think we know exactly what Chris is talking about. So let's think about this macro. You got a $200 million player in Steph Curry. This guy is eventually going to get his money. Iguodala got his money. Livingston and West, smaller deals. Clay's going to have to get his money. Joe Lacob, the owner, has said, money is no object, not just a cliche. We're willing to do whatever. So you tell me, eventually, with the salaries and then the luxury tax, how much money are they going to be shelling out to keep this intact?
Well, it's going to get bizarre, and it's going to get. But look, Zoop, when you have a roster that's put together right now, look, people jumping on them talking about it's a super team, they did it the wrong way. Well, most of their guys are guys that they drafted and they developed into these type of players.
Correct.
And so the Warriors are always going to have the right to pay whatever they want to pay, they'll but keep them because those are bird guys. Now, with that being said, a couple years from now, when Clay is a free agent, Draymond's a free agent, there will be a tough decision to be made. But look, when you have a guy like Kevin Durant, a newbie to the team, saying, hey, look, I'm going to take less to make sure this gets done, you would have to think that other guys will fall in line when it's their turn to do the same thing to try to keep this dynasty in place. But that's a problem down the road. As of right now, they're just happy that they have a couple more years to be able to keep this championship core intact.
So it's follow the leader. Again, the Bird rights, named after Larry Bird, essentially allows teams to kind of retain their own free agents, giving them an incentive to stay with the team that drafted them. And as Chris said, obviously, most of the Warriors are homegrown. This guy's an exception, but obviously most of them are homegrown. All right, so most of the guys have been taken care of here. They did have 9 free agents, though, when we began at 12:01 a.m. Saturday morning. So in your mind, what's the biggest priority left for the champs?
Next, out of the free agents that the Warriors have, JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee.
And I know that for a lot of people that may sound strange, but look at what JaVale McGee has done this year. He has been a consistent producer off the bench for the Warriors. He gives them that aerial threat. And that's that's kind of a change of pace when you look at, they start with Zaza Pachulia, a guy who's a rugged defender, but he doesn't get off the ground. When JaVale comes in, that changes the game tremendously. Draymond Green, Stephen Curry is able to get inside the paint, throw the ball up, and allow JaVale McGee to go do what he does. And they play him in limited minutes, which limits a lot of his blunders. And it's just the perfect situation and perfect team for his skill set. And so if they don't bring him back, then you're talking about Zaza Pachulia, possibly, he's a free agent, and then David West. 2 similar guys who stay on the ground.
Below the basket.
Below the basket. You need that above the basket threat in JaVale McGee. I think he's their next priority.
Did you hear that, Shaq? JaVale McGee. You heard it here first from Chris Haynes. A home run move today with the Warriors getting Durant at a discount. Chris, thank you.